Oh, hello. I'm Richard Vobes. I am the author of Splidge the Cragflinger. You just caught me checking out my Twitter feed, actually. I'm one of those out there that uses social media. Lots of people do. Now, if you're a writer or you're a reader or you're just interested in what I get up to, I'm one of those people that like to tell other people, or share, as the people on social media like to say, what they're up to. And I often share pictures, maybe a picture of me getting ready to film this. I've actually tweeted out on my Twitter account, or they might be sharing some of their work. Now, I'm an author, I'm a filmmaker, and I'm a presenter, and I do lots of different things. So my life, I've got lots of different bits to it, and so I use things like Facebook, things like Twitter, and I'm just starting to get to terms with Pinterest. They're my main three. Now, there are lots of different social media out there, and people upload pictures to Instagram and Flickr and all sorts of places. There's hundreds of them. I've just narrowed myself down to 3 because that's more than I can cope with, and I spend a lot of time on Twitter. One of the things and the advantages of social media, and particularly things like Twitter, is you can very quickly share what you're up to. When you're an author or a filmmaker or somebody like that, people do get interested in what you're doing. Not just your everyday stuff, but also your work. So it's very interesting when I'm slaving away, and I often am slaving away writing the next novel. The next Splidge the Cragflinger is on its way, The Purple Death. Well, I'd be working on that, and I think to myself, do you know what? I'm going to just share some of what I've done, and I may write a little bit and tweet it out, a line from the forthcoming book, and get people interested. Oh, that sounds very interesting. Maybe that will drive them to my website, have a look at the Splidge website, splidge.co.uk, and find out what he's up to. And of course, things like these videos, when I'm making these videos that I want to share and tell you what I'm doing and all the rest of it, well, of course, I put them on YouTube, and then I can put a link into Twitter and Facebook and just tell people what I'm up to. Now, there are people who are using these sort of tools for the very first time, and they're thinking, well, what kind of things do you have to do? Is it just about your work? Well, actually, no. One of the fallacies is that you just have to keep tweeting lots of links to stuff that you're up to, or your work, as it were. But sometimes, if you're an author particularly, or a filmmaker, people like to know that you are a real rounded person. Even though you may not be completely rounded and have a normal life because you're sitting at home typing out your script all day, and a lot of normal people don't do that, or you're filming stuff all day. Again, a lot of people don't do that. You want to sort of show that you are a bit human, and you would be maybe not so much just pictures of you having a cup of tea, but in my case, I often go for a walk down to the seafront. I live in Worthing in West Sussex, and down on the seafront there's a beautiful pier. We've got a pebbly beach, the tide comes in, and on some days it looks really lovely, other days it's more dramatic, and I like to share some of those pictures, which I'll put on Facebook or even on Pinterest or on Twitter, and just say, hey, I'm going for a walk, had a break from my work today, or I've gone up on the South Downs. We've got these lovely chalky hills up in Sussex, where I live, or down in Sussex, I suppose. You go up the hills and down the dales. Anyway, whatever you do, you can share all that, and people sort of get to know and think, oh yeah, he's an interesting person, and then they can follow your links to what you're up to, and you can share the sort of things that you do. And of course, not only are you duty bound just to do it from your computer, but these days everybody's got mobile phones, and it's great for my readers to be able to just be reminded of bits and pieces that I'm doing, and they can go, oh yeah. Now, in one of my previous videos, I showed you how I did my art and drawings and stuff. And very often, when I've got them out there, I put them up and I gauge the reaction. That's one of the great things that social media is really good for, because people can comment on these things and you can have a look and you can go, oh yeah, see what you mean. He does look a bit fat, or his head is a bit too big, or his eyebrows aren't long enough, or he doesn't look mean and moody enough, or whatever it may be. Or same with your pictures or your writing or photography or filmmaking or whatever. It's nice. The other great thing that often gets overlooked is people who like what you do can share that with other people. So they can say, hey, I've just found this great book, you might like to know about it. And they'll tweet that out, or they'll share it on their Facebook, or they'll be part of a group and then they'll share that, or people will be interested in your Pinterest account and come across it. So more and more people get to know it. It takes a bit of time, and it takes a little, I don't know, you just sort of get an idea of what you want to tweet out and what have you, but it takes a little bit of time to understand it, but it's worth persevering and giving it a go. And if you're just a reader, and I've got a lot of young readers, so there's certain age points where kids can't actually use it, which in a way is a shame, but actually for safe purposes that's pretty good. But it does mean that they can have a look. They can sort of look at your feed, particularly with parental guidance and all that. They can check you out, they can find your websites, they can get to YouTube and all those sort of things. So from an author's point of view, and whatever else that you might do, social media is worth a go, so give it a try. Now, you might be saying to yourself, where is this bloke then? How do we follow you? Well, it's very easy, of course. I have a number of Twitter accounts. I'm also a filmmaker who makes a program called The Bald Explorer. So for that one, I use it's an @ sign, @Bald Explorer. For Splidge, you can follow him on @Cragflinger. It's because he's Splidge the @Cragflinger. So just follow Cragflinger for him. All the stuff's on the screen. And for me personally, it's @Vobes. And of course, there's Facebook and there's Pinterest, and you can get all of those on the website. So join me again when I'm going to explore something else to do with writing, storytelling, illustrating, and filmmaking. So until then, I better just check to see if anyone's retweeted something of mine. I think they have.